Alright guys, welcome back to Team Down TV's coverage of the Cyber Gamer League of Legends Pro Division, brought to you by our sponsors M-Wave, AMD, BenQ, Western Digital, Sound Blaster and G-Skill. Tonight we have a rematch of the ACL Melbourne Grand Final. It is the new Team Immunity, the new roster Team Immunity, taking on the formerly known Wobbly Bears, now known as Envie. My name is Menace. I'll be casting alongside tonight Go Gadget.
Yeah, great to be here, Menace, and this is a very, very exciting match. Like you said, the rematch of ACL Melbourne Grand Final, but of course with those freshly swapped rosters on Team Immunity, and I do believe on NV's side as well. They've potentially shaken a few things up there, but we're into the picks and bans now, so we can get this game, which I tell you what, I'm extremely hyped about, underway. And already we've got the first bans from each side. Immunity taking out Cassidy, Elise and Zach there. So I want to say that they're more sort of, flavour of the month OP bans rather than anything targeted specifically to NV. Yeah,
I mean, there's really strong champions being banned out already. Elise and Zach really good in the jungle right now. Such good gankers. Also, Zach really good in that top lane. You can't bully him out. He's a pain in the butt. So they have definitely targeted him. Now, NV putting a little bit more emphasis on that bot lane, Go, banning out Vayne, Thresh, and also banning out the Zed for the mid lane. So no Cassidy, no Zed, which is unfortunate. I love seeing those guys being played. Now, first pick over for Team Immunity. Shen is open. They are hovering over it, Go, and they do lock it in.
They do lock in Shen. Okay, so that will, we'd expect it to be played by Swiper up there in the top lane. It's pretty a safe pick, I want to say, early on. Shen, of course, very strong split pusher at the moment. You can, get him up to a point where he can, if you can get him up to a point where he can 1v1 any member of the opposing team, Envy in this case, then he should be happy split pushing, in the middle to later stages of the game. And of course, with that great global presence, any sort of early dragons, anything like that, which you can afford to ult in on, that's going to be a great advantage for Immunity. So, good first pick.
Very safe first for sure. And for the guys over on NV, they're just hovering over Teemo at the moment. Teemo would be a great pick against Shen, I think.
That's all right, but be pretty funny. And I think in the chat there, a few people capped Ghost Specs there saying, who knows perfection. And I tell you what, I've actually, been privy to spectate a few of the sort of high elo Aussie games on, various mediums, even Scream Stream, which he's in the chat here joining us. And I tell you what, perfection, he plays a pretty mean Cassidy. But Cassidy's definitely been a band which, it's been pretty popular recently, although it looks like Envy going the first two picks there, going with Ezreal and Vi. Vi, of course, going to be in the jungle there, and Ezreal very safe AD at the moment. It's hard to counter pick that, and so in that regard, I think there's some pretty strong picks coming out of Envy.
You're touching on, Perfection being a really good Cassidy. Also, don't forget Swift is a bit of a Cassidy player himself.
Well, true.
Yeah. In the PAX tournament, playing a bit himself, getting the only Penta, I think, well, at least in the final stage, on the PAX stage, which was pretty impressive to see. Chief Swiffer coming back on that one. Now, it was funny because he was actually playing Team Immunity, and now look, he is on Team Immunity's side, along with their new jungler, Spooks, in the jungle there. So they have locked actually in for the bot lane, though, on Team Immunity. They've locked in Twitch, the Rat, and Zyra for possible bot lane.
Yeah, Twitch are a very strong lane at the moment. What you can do, of course, is get that, around about level 2 even. Twitch has a lot of burst if you can stack up that poison and follow it up with an expunge. And of course, if Rosie, who we'd assume is going to be playing the support Zyra in this game, can, land a snare, then that's just going to set everything up. And if NV's bot lane isn't careful, that can lead to some early kills, or at least early advantages for IM if they play it well.
Very true. And then two more locked in for NV there. They've locked themselves in of Vladimir and Ari. And I'm surprised Ari's actually made it this far. She's a very popular pick around at the moment, that very mobile ganking Ari. And she has gone in at 4th pick for NV. So that's a long way through, I think, Go, to be able to survive that far. I guess Immunity really favouring Twitch for their bottom lane, and Rosie maybe on the Zyra there. The last two picks now coming out for Immunity.
Alrighty, yeah, and those two picks coming out of NV, the Ari and the Vladimir, I like those. Vlad, he can, he can probably get to a stage, as long as he keeps up in farm, of course, with Spooks up in that top lane where, he's going to be pretty comfortable 1v1ing Spooks. Of course, the only sort of issue in the Vlad versus Shen matchup later on into the, middle and later stages of the game is that Vlad, of course, doesn't have anything to stop that Stand United from being channeled and cast. But I still like that pick from NV, although in the meantime, look at that. I think we're going to be seeing one of the infamous Swiffer Gragas's, and looks like Spooks just falling back to a Jarvan pick in the jungle there.
Yeah, safer pick for him, jungle there. So I'm really keen, though, to see Swiffer on this Gragas. It'd be interesting to see, especially the matchup between Gragas and Ari. How you feeling about that one, Gogo?
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. I mean, you can look at it from the perspective that Ari, of course, being a range champion, is going to be able to put a little bit of harass on Gragas very early on in the lane. But honestly, Gragas has so much sustain with that passive that, once he gets a few levels, maybe a little bit later on into the laning phase, he should be fine. Although, of course, the great thing about Ari, when it doesn't matter who picks her, Ari's always going to have kill potential on the mid laner that she's playing against, but also around the map with that mobility from the Spirit Rush. So it looks like NV are going to be locking in their support as well, which is of course Sona. So it's going to be a Sona is bot lane, and a very pokey lane if played right. But I'm a little bit worried because Immunity, of course, they've got Rosie and Raydere. I think one of the strongest bot lanes, not only in Australia, but also in at least the challenger global competitive scene at the moment. And, something like a Sona support can be a little bit risky sometimes, but NV are going to have to play that one really well.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how they do lane against a very aggressive, I would assume a very aggressive Rosie, as always, having the Ignite there as his summoner spell, looking for the first bloods and just laying the damage out as much as possible. And it's a very squishy Sona. Sona has the lowest health pool at level 1 that's flat of any champion in the game. But also another thing to point out is very AP heavy composition from NV. A lot of AP on Castiel. Now, Castiel, for anyone who is around the scene, they may know him as AV0. So he was previously on a Vanguard Fear and have since dropped that team, and he has moved over to Wobbly Bears. AV0 or AV... trying to remember his other name, but yeah, NV Castiel is AV0 from a Vanguard Fear. He used to be the ADC, has moved up into the top lane, so it'll be very interesting to see how he goes. I know he loves top lane. I think he'd be very happy in that position. So how are you feeling about these team compositions? There is a fair amount of AoE on both sides, actually, but a lot of, I guess, a lot of CC on Immunity. A lot more CC, I guess, than NV.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Immunity, they're going to be able to set up, in any sort of team fight, if any of the members are from NV are caught off guard, something like that, then you're absolutely right. IM can capitalize on that with all of the CC that they have. They've got the Shen Taunt, the knock up from Jarvan, that Snare, and also the Overgrowth from Zyra. And, mix that in with a nice explosive cast from Swiffer. Granted, that all goes to plan, of course. That's not going to be a fun time for NV. And interesting, actually, Papa Smithy in chat as well was pointing out that NV took away that Vi early on as their first pick, I do believe, away from Spooks' jungle. So, obviously Spooks seems to like playing that Vi. So, good pick up by NV on that one. And of course, we're into the summoner delay at the moment, and as soon as we get this ticking down, we can get this match underway. Team Immunity versus NV in the Cybergamer Pro League best of 3.
I know you're very excited for this one, Gogo, and I am too. It's going to be an interesting match. I think we're going to see a very different Team Immunity, obviously because of the match changes, but on the back of Gamescom, they've come back to their own turf. This is where they're comfortable. They've won many tournaments here. I think we're going to see a different Immunity, not only because of those players. I think the previous members, such as Swiper, Rosie, and Raydere, are going to have a different mindset, feel a little bit more invigorated from the new players being on their side, and maybe, a bit more confident who knows? We'll have to see how they do play, but I think they're planning to come back and just try and dominate as much as possible, as they have been doing anyway. But yeah, I'm really keen to see how they will go.
Definitely. Go. That's
Go.
That's fun. That's fun to say, but yeah, that's right. And taking a look at both of these teams and how they're going to interact with each other in team fights. On Envie's side, you've got a little bit of assassination potential with that Vi and Ari locked together. Of course, Vi getting that assault and battery onto maybe someone like raydere on IM side. Of course, Rain, aka Perfection, on that Ari is going to be able to follow that one up. Ideally, of course, with that Ari burst combo, I suppose. So that's what Envie have got going for them. In the meantime, of course, IM, like you pointed out, tons of CC, and really they have an amazing team for team fighting. They've got a pretty beefy front line with Shen and Jarvan in there. Lots of disengage with that ultimate from Rosie, and in the meantime, there's just going to be raydere at the back line, spraying and praying, and really gunning down Envie.
Yeah, lots to really protect their Twitch from Ari diving in or Vladimir. I mean, the pool's going to save him, but only so much. There is there's a lot, like 4 champions over on Immunity have got hard CC. I mean, Gragas having that ulti only being his CC, but still, it's a form of CC. A lot of lockup from Zyra, Shen, and J4. I really think Immunity have come out on top in the picking phase in this one, and Envie are going to have a hard time getting ahead, especially, I mean, there's a lot of CC there as well, and the regen from Soda is going to help out as much as possible, but I just feel at this stage it's really not looking so great for Envie pick-wise.
Yeah, and it's great to see it now that we're into the loading screen right here, that Immunity all have their IM icons, repping those. That is just fantastic to see. And I've noticed lots of people around the Ocelot community, or Ocelot community, however you want to say it, have been repping those icons, showing support for the local team, and we'll have to see this game whether the local team is as strong as it was before, because of course I am previously a team really known for closing out series 2-0, 3-0 in a best of 5. They're not a team that loses, and I'm really interested to see what's changed with these very recent roster swaps.
I think it's going to be super awesome and super aggressive play from all around. I guess Swiper's probably going to be the least aggressive, just going to be farming up as much as possible. A pretty boring pick, as he would describe it. We were talking pre-game about, I said, what are you going to bring out? And he said, probably something boring, and I think he has come with something boring. Shen, not the most exciting or aggressive player, and Brady is very aggressive. Swiper's very aggressive in that top lane, so...
Yeah, definitely, and we'll just have to wait and see. Looks like we've got a few wards down from both IM and Envie. Looks like the old El Cheapo ward, the Explorer ward. Both teams, in fact, putting in that sort of South River brush, I suppose you call it, down there. And IM getting a nice early ward on the Wraiths of Envie as well. But interesting to see that Envie really focusing their vision around this middle lane early on. So they want Rain to be really safe pre-6, because of course once Ari does hit 6, it's not very likely at all that we're going to see ganks put on mid lane by Spooks, because of course of that triple rush from Spirit Rush piled on top of Flash.
Yeah, and the Crystalline Flask up against the Doran's Ring mid lane, it should be, I know it's a lot of regen there on Ari, going a bit safer, so aggressiveness on Gragas, on Chief Swiffer with that Gragas. As I said, he's very aggressive player, and looks like, red buff start for J4, pretty standard. Really, he may even go super aggressive and start ganking. We'll have to see what does happen, or he'll head straight for his blue. Vi going to go for her own blue, so no real trading of buffs there, just standard starts for both junglers. And I mean, where they're going to turn their focus to? Are they going to wait and see maybe where the other jungler ganks, or will it be a matter of just going out and guessing?
Well, I think we're going to see a pretty standard start here from both of the junglers, and then maybe they might look to gank at round 3. Both are around the top lane area, so who knows? We might see some early action up in the top lane, of course. Looks like even Spooks might be heading up there right now, so we'll have to see whether he clashes with Envie.
And look at the aggression down bottom lane. Snow taking a ton of damage as well as raydere. So they're trading fairly well, but that's up in the top lane now. You do see J4 come through, pokes his head out, and Vi doesn't even bother going near it. There is a ward up in that top rush that the Castiel has put down. So he's going to be able to spot out those lane ganks, Gogo.
Yeah, that's right. So, speaking of wards, spotting it out though, looks like Envy did just spot Spooks moving down kind of south from the top river there, but he's going to be fine. Just going back to the jungle, it's good to see these junglers, obviously, top tier junglers in the Oceanic scene. These guys know that it's pointless waiting around for a long time and missing out on CS because of it. And we've seen, all the top junglers from various regions across the world, don't spend too long in one place just waiting to try and force a gank to happen. So that's great to see from these guys.
Snow does get locked up. The Arcane shifts out at the last second, being able to get away from that one under the turret. Rosie being super aggressive as suspected on the Zyra. In the mid lane though, you can see Spooks right around the corner. Rain does spot him coming out and just simply walks away from that one. And no engage from Spooks. Everybody really conscious of where these junglers could be, Gogo. Yeah,
that's right. And down in the bottom lane, we're really seeing lots of aggression from IM's lane. That isn't, hasn't translated, of course, into any form of a CS lead for raydere, but still pretty even Stevens down there, I think it's safe to say. And, we're having a little bit of a passive start to game one here. Both of these guys, of course, is a pretty top tier match, and I think IM are definitely going to be looking to show the Oceanic scene and community that their new roster was the right move to make. With all the changes they've had. So looks like Spooks is moving, potentially looking for either a gank or maybe some counter jungling there.
Well, decides to back out towards river, sitting in that brush now. Vi is going to B. Doesn't land the EQ onto Rain though. So no engage there. But look, Wobbles is coming out to just try and help push the lane a little bit, and it's just no real ganks yet from either of these jungles.
Yeah, nothing too crazy from either side yet, but let's take a little look up in the top lane because I've actually noticed a bit of a CS discrepancy there between Swiper and Castiel. Castiel's doing a very nice job, pressuring Swiper up there. He's a little bit ahead in CS. Of course, there's a bit of a way built up there for Swiper as well, but I think it's safe to say that the top lane is, still fairly even. And, and a 10 CS advantage, something like that, it's not really going to snowball the lane. So Swiper still keeping up there.
And no wards left in that top river at all. So no idea where J4 is at the moment. Castiel does head back, kind of buy a few items, gets himself the Hextech revolver and some wards. Does he pick up one or two? He's only picked up one ward at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. And looks like Wobbles there on that jungle Vi, heading towards blue buff, but may even try for a gank on bot.
Oh, bottom trading very close here. Rosie taking a lot of damage from pause on the Sona there, but managed to lock up Snow after the Arcane shift, which was really nice.
Yeah, it was, and that's the sort of play that we sort of come to expect from these top tier teams here. This is pretty much the two best teams in the Oceanic League of Legends region at the moment. Of course, with the odd roster swap since their grand finals at ACL Melbourne. So I've got a bit of a lull in the action. Let's take a look at some of the early buys from both of these teams. So it looks like Vladimir up there, Castiel going for the early Hextech revolver. A bit of sustain, nothing too crazy, pretty standard build. I think it's safe to say in the meantime, Swiper hasn't actually gone back yet, but he's going to do that now. And he's got 1.5k, might work towards, Spectre's Cow. Bit of, defense against Vlad in the lane.
Well, a lot of damage now coming on the Snow, and this bottom lane does get locked up from Zyra. Plants do a ton of damage, and there's another expunge on top. He's just really being forced out at the moment, and you can see now Vi trading over that blue to Ari.
Yep, and Wobbles at the moment in the jungle doing a pretty good job, 39 CS to Spooks' 30 at the moment, and part of that comes from the fact that Vi is a slightly faster jungler than Java. And Wobbles has definitely been focusing on farming so far at this 8-minute stage of the game. Got himself a Spirit Stone as well. So it's definitely going to be going fast for him. And I think now that he's level 6, now that he has access to that assault and battery, I'd really like to see him, probably expect to see some sort of a gank, maybe on the mid lane, which can be followed up by Rain on Ari, who of course does have the Spirit Rush, that burst combo and Ignite available to him.
Yeah, bottom lane's heading back now. And Bilgewater Cutlass first item on Twitch. Zyra picking up an Amplifying Tome, as well as a couple of wards, Vision Ward and Sight Ward included. Blue buff now being traded over to Swiffer on Gragas. He stands out, has a bit of a dance away. I think he's waiting for, his dash to come off cooldown towards the, go back towards the mid lane. So there's now a bit of a difference in time because J4 started on that red buff go. The blue spawned a bit later and could be the difference between, a skill a little bit later on in the game.
Yeah, potentially. And a very good point made there by Tiev in chat that Envy's team, they don't want to die. They've got so much mobility. Every single one of their lanes or their champions in the lanes have some sort of getaway spell, maybe apart from Sona. Unless you count Crescendo. So it is very hard for Envy to die, and that's what we're seeing right here. No kills at this 9-minute stage of the game, which isn't exactly what you come to expect between a clash between these two teams, especially when lanes like this bottom lane of IM are really playing pretty aggressively. Although even in mid lane, we're seeing a bit of aggression onto Rain there, and Swiffer on that Gragas, he's keeping up in CS pretty well.
He is doing a very good job of competing with Ari for the CS, and J4 still waiting in this top lane, being so patient, trying to maybe get a gank on the Vladimir. Castiel is really pushed up, and here he comes there. Lands a taunt onto him now. He does get the EQ knock up. Cataclysm as well in the middle of it. Castiel's in big trouble, throws out the pool. I think this might be first blood. Ignite, there it is.
Goes to Spooks, actually. That's not exactly what IM would have been wanting there. I think Swiper probably could have done with that kill a little bit more, but nice to pick it up nonetheless. And I am going to be pretty happy about that. That is going to set Castiel a little bit behind. Good to see Swiper staying in that top lane, helping to push it out so that Castiel gets denied even more creeps. Although I'm just looking at Captain Wobbles down there in the bottom lane. I think he's pretty keen for a gank.
He is very keen. Assault and Battery is primed and ready. It's just a matter of getting in position, trying to creep through that brush, as we see them now going very aggressive, and both Raydere and Rosie know exactly what's happening and head towards the safety of their own tower.
Yeah, that's right. So, taking a look at the CS and items down in the bottom lane, looks like, CS pretty much the same at the moment. No, large advantage for either side, but Snow on that Ezreal is actually going for a Mana Immune, or the sort of blue Ezreal build, maybe with a Bloodthirster thrown in there. So he's going to be stacking up that tier, and probably I'd expect him to be upgrading that to a Mana Immune as early as possible. That is the sort of most efficient way to stack up your tier in a reasonable amount of time nowadays.
Well, Sona possibly caught out here. Pause the flash there from Zyra, and they look like they want to go straight for Dragon.
Yeah, they can get this. They can get this Dragon. I think this is almost going to go away uncontested for Team Immunity.
It is no vision there. They do realise that something is probably going on around the Dragon. Pause coming in very deep, throwing out a bit of harass as much as she can. And now Envy want to go in. Flash as well onto Spooks. In comes the ulti from Shed. Crescendo over the top. This is going to be a big fight. Pause picks up a kill onto Spooks. There's a Zyra ulti in the middle, and Wobbles falls down to Twitch. Sona also picking up a kill on J4, and now Raydere gets exhausted at the back. Pause taking more and more damage from that expunge. Swiper picks up the kill on the Pause. Snow now falling very low. Arcane shoots and flashes away. Ignite ticket down onto him. Rain trying to separate the fight here, but a really good fight for Immunity. I think they're going to continue the fight. Swiper flash and the taunt as well. Picks up the kill.
Wow. 3 for 1 to Immunity at the end of that exchange, and they got the Dragon on top of that. That is huge for IM at this 12-minute stage of the game. Very well played. And, Envy, they were sort of looking all right when they collapsed on towards IM at the beginning of that fight, but then, somehow they sort of got split. You saw Pause walking up one way, the rest of Envy walking up, the other way in the river, and IM just capitalized on that, smashed them down, although Castiel did manage to pick up the top tower.
Yeah, so that was essentially a 5 versus 4. That is why IM came around. That is the power of the Shen. No respect there at all. They really wanted to engage, and Shen came in. There's no real way for Vladimir to stop him. using that Stand United, as you said, Gogo.
Yeah, that's right. So looks like I am, of course, after that fight, I'm going to be able to buy up a bit. Blade of the Ruined King is completed onto Raydere there, so that is a nice jump in power for him. In terms of the rest of IM, Spirit of the Ancient Golem there finished on Spooks' Jarvan. So, any sort of ensuing team fights which we might be seeing soon is definitely going to be, hard to bring down in those ones. And yeah, some pretty standard item pickups across the board for both teams. Although it looks like Snow has opted for that, slight bit of extra Q poke trading potential of the Sheen rather than going straight for a Martian. Probably didn't have the money actually.
Probably not. Look at all the wards, though, from Envy. There's been a huge amount of money invested in the vision for them right now. Having 4 to 3 wards, 5 to 3 wards on the map at the moment. Immunity only having the mid lane covered there as well as the top. So, obviously, Dragon being down, you're not going to spend too much cash down and around there. So, it's actually 5 to 4 wards now. But, yeah, so NV really feeling vulnerable at this stage. I mean, they aren't that far behind the CS, but that team fight would put them on the back foot for sure.
Yep, that's right. And just taking a look at NV, what they've decided to do with their money, specifically up in the top lane there. As we actually see the gank.
Here it is, a taunt onto Castiel. Again, EQ combo from Spooks just to get gap closing there. Cataclysm is up. It could be used again, but Castiel now forced out of lane, chugs down that health pot.
Yeah, that's right. But Castiel, of course, with his first pickup, he decided to go for the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. So that really shows you how much he values that spell vamp stat. Of course, 3 stats on that Spirit not actually affecting, well, not really affecting, I suppose. The damage dealt to monsters is pretty helpful if they do decide to go for, something like an early-ish Baron. But, yeah, really opting for that sustain in lane.
And now top turret going to fall quite easily. Vi is also in this bottom lane, so both junglers on the other side of the map putting pressure around. And here comes Wobbles at the back, Crescendo over the top, but Radius always get falling down. Gets ulti from Shen as well. There's a taunt on the tower onto Captain Wobbles, and now Soda falls to Snow falls as well. Captain as well. Double kill for Swiper. This is huge. Rain also in a bit of trouble here. Does land the charm. In comes Swiffer. Tries to use that Spirit Rush to maybe take out Radiant Ignite. Does pick up the kill, so a little bit of compensation, but it's just not enough. That is a 4 for 2 trade.
Wow. 4 for 2 at the end of that one. Radiant picked up a kill. I think Swiper picked up something like 3 cat exchange. That is huge for Team Immunity. And it was just maybe a bit of miscommunication, something like that from NV, because when they dived, Team Immunity on that bottom tier tower, they all stood in, the perfect line. So all Raydere had to do was click R, fire down the line, boom, they were all so low. Swiper picked up a few kills, Raydere picked up 1, and that was curtains for NV.
It was, and now look at the gold lead over for Team Immunity. 8 to 3 kills, 25.5k gold, 21.3, so a 4.2k gold lead already at 16 minutes in. This is not looking very good for MV. They really need to just play a lot safer, and yeah, it's just crazy play. So there's a pink ward under the brush there. Radiant taking that one on.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty happy. Nice little bit of gold there, but looks like in the meantime, NV, they're deciding to pretty much keep the bottom lane where it is at the moment, just to maximize the safe farming potential that Snow has down there. And Snow, interestingly, he's going for the Iceborne Gauntlet early on rather than completing that Martin Immune. So opting for a little bit more defense, a little bit more kiting potential once that one is completed.
But also lacking a lot of damage, I guess. There's really... Yeah,
definitely.
We've seen this in the last few games with Cascogo, is just not enough damage to close out some of those kills, and it could be potentially dangerous for MV, or the extra protection could work out really well. I mean, it's just a matter of much of a muchness, isn't it?
Oh, in the mid lane.
Yeah, Swiffer taking a lot of damage. Use the ulti to spread them out. Every rain Cataclysm over the top. Swiffer does pick up the kill onto Ari. That's a huge play from him. And now Wobbles... No, it doesn't look like they're going to engage.
That was hilarious by Swift there. You got a perfect explosive Castiel though. Look up in the top lane.
Oh no, they're just going at it once again. Castiel not going to be able to sustain. Pops the ghost out. Has he used his pool? I think he has used his pool. No, he has not. So there's still that safety card of pulling out of that one. But yeah, wow, Swiper just doing tons of damage to Castiel, not being able to keep up. He does have that needlessly large rod, amplifying toe, but no real defensive stats apart from, yeah, nothing really. Actually, no defensive stats at all. And there is an easy dragon for immunity. Again, number 2 going over to them.
Yeah, that's right. Very easy indeed. No contention whatsoever from Envy, and you know at this point they can't really contest it. The issue with the Ezreal build that Snow's going right here is that they're actually behind. They're behind in gold by about 6k at the moment, and in any sort of 5v fight, it's not until Snow can actually Snow actually completes that frozen that Iceborne Gauntlet rather, that he's really going to have any impact in these team fights. So very risky sort of play by Snow. They're opting for the more sort of late game build, I suppose. But the question is, are IM going to try and close it off and choke Envy so they don't get to the late game?
Yes, that's pretty much... it's going to be very hard for Envy to come back from this one. There is a taunt, though, top lane onto Castiel. Swiffer has joined the fight, throws out the explosive cast, knocks him back, ignite. Castiel throws out the pool. I don't think it's going to be enough, and Swiffer on a killing spree right now.
Wow, Swiffer is doing work on this Gragas at the moment. Look at that, 186 CS, more than his lane opponent, 3, 0, and 2 as well. And, part of it is, of course, Gragas being such a power pick in the scene at the moment, and Swiffer, a very experienced Gragas player himself. And it looks like I am content to trade towers, taking that top second tier out of tower, and Envy are probably going to take this middle one. Oh, actually, maybe not.
Maybe not. They could get the pinch felt down on them here. And it looks like Rain wants to fight on the Swiffer. There's an ulti from Shen. Does come in. Knock up onto Captain Wobbles. Oh, wow. A nice ulti there for Swiper, but I don't think it's going to be much for Captain Wobbles. Captain Wobbles tried his best to fight out of this one. And Swiper is unstoppable.
Swiper is doing work on this Shen. Every time you can see that, even though IM may have had those recent roster swaps, you might expect something like, oh no, as we see down in the bottom lane here, Envy are in trouble.
They are getting pinched also, being really far forward with the turret still there. There's a crescendo over the top on a Swiffer, taking damage under the turret. It looks like Pause and Snow will get away. Explosive cast does destroy as well as the expunge, actually picking up the kill onto Sona. Ezreal completely forced out of lane, and now Rain in a lot of trouble, trying to maybe compensate for that. He's going to try and pick up a kill onto Rosie. Rosie does land the ulti on top as well, but yeah, Ari picking up the kill onto Zyra.
Yeah, and I think Rosie probably would have got that kill even even without the help of the rest of IM there, and that just goes to show you how far ahead IM are. I mean, take a look at the supports, and supports are usually a great determining factor in the goal difference between teams and how far one team might be ahead. And Rosie at the moment sitting on a total of 5k that he's in at this game. Compare that to Pause, who is at 3.4k.
Yeah, huge differences here between the two teams. And Raydere was actually backing on top of a ward. Vi wanted to maybe go aggressive onto him, but yeah, they saw him coming. Easily walking out and going back to buy a few more items, I dare say. Castiel now trying to steal away blue buff, decides against it as both J4 and Shen are in the area, and it won't be long before Gragas joins them, so it could have been really, really fatal.
Yeah, that's right. And finally, we've got the Iceborne Gauntlet picked up there on Snow's Ezreal, so that's going to be pretty helpful for him. But the issue as well, of course, which I've got to say I have with this build is that, as we actually see Spooks there running away from the red buff, is that, there's not really many options where the Iceborne Gauntlet is going to let the whole of NV kite for a long time, purely because if IM want to engage, they can definitely engage. They've got so much CC available to them. An Iceborne Gauntlet Slow probably isn't going to stop them from going in if they want to. And of course, that tier on Snow, it's only up to, let's take a look at it, 388 stacks as well. So it's going to be a long time before that's, fully stacked up and turns into the very powerful Muramana, which is such a core component on that blue Ezreal build.
Yeah, that is the problem, is getting those stacks up. I mean, Ezreal can span quite a bit of spells, but as you can see, how many stacks did you say it had? 388 to 750. So, not only just over halfway getting those stacks done, and it's just really not working out for them, I guess. Immunity putting pressure on all the way around the map, having this epic gold lead right now. 8k gold lead, 23 minutes in, 13 to 4. Kills and 4 to 1 turrets. So much map control from Team Immunity, and they're using it to their advantage, keeping the pressure on, not letting them slip up at all.
Yep, that's right. I am. You know, they've taken this advantage. Well, they've taken every single advantage that's been offered to them at the moment, and they're not letting up. We can see there those Snow just punishing Rosie for getting those wards out. But interesting, actually, Rosie decided to go for the extra damage and teamfight utility of the Morella Nomicon, which is very powerful against Vlad. As we actually see the engage.
Yeah, there is a nice taunt from Swiper. Again, Captain Wobbles flashes out of that one. A beautiful Cataclysm over the top. Crescendo not going to be able to do much in defense. And a double kill for Shen. Wow, Swiper.
There you go. 2 for row. I am just dived 2 turrets to get those 2 kills. And look at them. Every single one of them, 100% full health. And, oh no, Swiper gets the taunt.
Yeah, another taunt onto Ari. I don't even get a chance to commentate. It just gets exploded. Gragas has just got too much damage. And Captain Wobbles, Castiel at the back. Nothing they can do at all but sit back and watch their towers fall go-go.
Yeah, and the great thing about this game, which is so amazing to watch, is that even though it's a little bit one-sided at this point in time, as I am take that in here, it's just so good to see IM playing this top-tier League of Legends. This is a team that is so experienced. They've got 3 of the members here that went to Gamescom, and it's definitely showing that their new lineup is definitely not much weaker than their old one, if at all.
And now Wobbles wanting to pick a fight with Swiper. Swiper lands taunt onto Pause, and Snow trying his best to kite them away over the side. Pause does flash away, but now Wobbles goes back in, gets caught up by Zyra, throws the ultimate down straight onto Raydere. Doesn't do very much damage at all. Zyra picks up the kill. Castiel gone in the middle, throws his pool out, throws out his ulti, and Gragas completely unstoppable. Right now, Rain coming in, maybe trying to make something happen. They seem to be just running in one by one at this stage. Go Swiper, waiting. Rain trying to bait out the taunt there. Spooks over the wall. Does land the EQ combo as well. And a nice stun from Zyra as Rain flashes away. Ezreal picks up the kill onto J4. This could be a really interesting fight. That's one kill for Ezreal that he desperately needs in this team fight. Does Arcane shift away from Zyra and still doing his best to keep that mobility up. And now, look, Raydere just pops the ulti, spray and pray over the top. It's going to be enough. There's a charm as well. The ulti misses from Snow. Raydere just gets out of the flash of the wall with that one, and a triple kill. Wow, 2 for 1, Raydere, too strong.
Raydere, those Twitch mechanics right there, or even just general Raydere mechanics, I think it's safe to call them. They're amazing. Flashing out of the charm or the Q from Ari, something like that, and the ulti from Snow. Raydere is on another level at the moment. It's pretty awesome to watch. I've got to say, and I am. They're going to go back. They're going to spend all of their money which they've saved up at the moment. It's about a 12k lead to IM, which at the 25-minute stage of the game, 12k is a lot, especially when Envy's team, it's the sort of team that really does want to get in there. Assault and Battery from Vi, you've got the Hemo Plague from Castiel's Vladimir. This isn't a team which can rely on, just clearing out waves and disengaging. It's a team that wants to go all in, and now that they're this far behind, it's going to be so hard for them to come back.
It is. This is pretty much over. I mean, right now, Envy will be looking at the next game, trying to decide what they can do to stop this kind of repeat. Maybe change the bands up, change the picks up. They do have first pick next game. Maybe be able to leave that Shen open and take it away. Maybe that's something that IM could easily answer, but the siege continues now mid lane as Raydere just easily takes out turrets, and he is doing tons of damage.
Yeah, that's right. And, the great thing about Twitch is that actually Spooks is caught.
Ooh, almost completely caught. EQ combo. Escaping from that one quite easily there. And Swiffer going over, taking the red buff. Just taking the rates at the moment from the red buff. Looking at this huge wave in the top lane and wanting to push down this top turret.
Yeah, that's right. And the great thing about Twitch isn't, in fact, that Spooks gets caught, but as I was saying, if I really wanted to, they could just use spray and pray, get out of the tower's range, and still push it down. I mean, they don't really even need to do that at the moment because of how far ahead they are. Look at Swiper down in that bottom lane. He's so content just pushing all the way up to Envy's Nexus.
Oh wow, Raydere gets chummed. Will he get shut down? He does get shut down from Aria. Nice pick there for NV. And Shen didn't even get a chance to ulti. Now NV wanting to chase them down, but there's so much disengaged, and also a Shen beating down on the bottom lane. There's a huge creep wave there. The Shen is built up, being able to push as much as he can with that Sunfire Cape.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, screaming in the chat, they're just reminding everyone as we actually see Swiffer going to Castile.
He does, completely destroyed, and now Snow, he is just caught out. There's a flash as well as the dash from Swiffer, just trying to pick up the kill, and Snow having the reflexes to flash away from that one.
Yeah,
So
that's
close.
right. Yeah, and of course we got Scream in the chat, very helpful, reminding us that Wobbles is caught.
Wobbles is caught. It does escape actually quite easily. Didn't really want to follow that one up because look at the immunity; they're very low in this top lane.
Yep, they are extremely low. And I mean, the fact is, this NV team as well, of course, has gone through a few roster changes as well. So they are a much relatively newer team than Immunity. Immunity, of course, still having their three, I want to say core members that they had at Gamescom, still very fluent with the communication, whereas MV, maybe swapping things out a little bit more recently, and of course not having the same sort of pedigree as I am in the Oceanic scene. Still are looking to improve their game. And, this game we've seen some really good plays from them, but IM, they've just made more.
They have made the big plays, 22-6, 7-1 turrets, and Immunity could probably end this anytime they want. They're just going to Baron now, maybe decide to continue the push and not let NV come back at all. There's really not much that NV can do at this stage, so I'm not sure whether they're just going to continue try and come back, maybe a good Baron steal. I don't think that'd even do it. You'd still be on the back foot, even with the Baron. And look, in bottom lane though, Swiper and Rain just going at it back and forth. Rain having both a double buff, not being able to do too much damage to a really fed Shen at the moment. And they do start Baron over here, the remaining members of Immunity.
Yeah, that's right, and this is pretty much going to be uncontested. Of course, Captain Wobbles doesn't have flash, is probably going to try for the steal, but is he going to get it?
There is the ulti as well. Crescendo over the top. The Ignite does steal it away. So MV taking away Baron on that one. That was really good play.
Yeah, that was fantastic play there. Spooks missing out on that one, but to be fair, he was one level behind. So who knows? Oh wow!
Oh wow! Raydere flashing away from the Ari as well, and Pause getting cleaned up. Flashes out the back, exhausts onto Swiffer, and Swiffer is legendary. And like I said, that Baron buff really not going to help out.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get Baron. If 3 of your team members instantly die after that, that's just really unfortunate for MD.
It is top lane now. Swiffer falling fairly low from Castile and trying to dodge that taunt. Swiffer picking up a kill on the Castile quite easily, and this should be pretty much GG go-go.
Yep, that is right there. I am going to be taking out 2 inhibs right now. The bottom inhib is open as well. There's not too much that NV can do at this point. Look at that Swiffer on this Gragas. He is a sexy Gragas if I've ever seen one. 9-0 and 6. Those plays, those barrels have been on point all game.
And look, there's a lot of good KDRs over for Immunity as they do engage again. There's a Zyra ulti. Swiffer picks up a kill onto Ari, and now Swiper taking out Vi. Well, Ezreal picks up a kill onto Rosie, the only one that can seem to manage to kill at this stage. And Snow getting taunted under the tower, and Swiper doesn't even take any damage. He is so tanky with the Spirit's Visage. Got himself the Sunfire Cape as well as a Randuin's Omen. And here comes the end of the game 1 for Immunity. Banging down onto that Nexus. Snow still the only one with Baron buff right now. Cataclysm over the top. Spooks will fall. Ezreal picks the kill. But there it is. Game 1 to Team Immunity.
GG's to Team Immunity, of course, taking that first game in this best of 3 series. Remember, guys, Menace, I think we've got at least one fantastic match of Oceanic League of Legends coming up.
At least one. So make sure you do stick around for Game 2, guys. Brought to you by our sponsors, M-Wave, AMD, BenQ, Western Digital, Sound Blaster, and G-Skill. My name is Menace. I was joined by GoGo. Stick around for Game 2.
amor.
Alright guys, welcome back to Team Down TV's coverage of the Cyber Gamer League of Legends Pro Division. Really great game 2 here coming at you. Immunity versus NV. Immunity taking away game 1. A big shout out to our sponsors, NY of AMT, BenQ, Western Digital, Sound Blaster and G-Skill. I am joined again by Gogo.
Yes, great to be here, of course, Menace, and we're just about to be getting underway the second match of this best of 3, of course, between Team Immunity and Team NV. Of course, newly sponsored NV, for any of those just wondering, they've also had a few roster swaps, as have Immunity over the last wee while, and we're going to have to see this game whether NV decide to take out some different champions like that Gragas, like that Shen that was so huge for Immunity last game. I really want to see them switch it up a little bit.
I do, but looking at the bans right now, Gogo, it's looking very similar to how Game 1 was panning out for the guys on NV, which are blue this time, guys. Zach and Vayne being their first 2 bans. The last one got to come out momentarily, and on the purple side, Team Immunity this time, Cassidy and Zed being banned out for those guys. And Shen, the final ban for NV, Gogo.
Yeah, so I like the Shen ban from NV. I've got to say I'm still not convinced about that Vayne ban. To me, that's sort of that sort of shouts out that NV might not be, or maybe NV's AD. Of course, Snow might not be comfortable playing something like maybe like a Caitlyn, something like a Corki as well. Two ADs which are very pretty strong against Vayne in lane. Of course, raydere, Vayne is probably one of his favourite ADs. But, I feel as though it could have been a Gragas ban there instead. But we'll have to see how it pans out. In the meantime, of course, don't want to deal with the OPs at the moment, if you will. Cassidy and Zed and Elise, of course. Cassidy potentially targeted towards perfection, but we've seen in so many CGPL matches just banned out and not aimed at anyone in particular. I think it could be that as well.
It could be. And Thresh now. Actually, I think Thresh was banned out previous game by NV, and Castiel taking that away for the first pick over there for NV. So a Thresh support, always fun to watch the plays, and really strong bottom laner, being able to really bully out people. And now over for Team Immunity, they're thinking about their first 2 picks. What could it possibly be? Maybe a Twitch again for raydere. Not too sure how it will pan out, but yeah, Thresh. I know I like Thresh. Gogo, you a fan of Thresh?
Yeah, I like Thresh. He's very strong supported at the moment, and one of the key things about Thresh is not only the hooks in lane, which are of course fantastic, easy to set up kills with them, but my favourite part about Thresh is the box, because you can see in a team fight when a Thresh gets that death sentence in there, it throws down the box. If it's really well placed, hits maybe 3 or even 4 members of the enemy team, it is going to be so hard for them to win that team fight, because essentially what you've got is positional advantage. You can maneuver around that team when you get that box down, and that really is one of the things that, in my opinion, makes Thresh so strong.
So true. And now the first 2 picks for Team Immunity coming out again. Ezreal, a J4, and then Ezreal being picked up for raydere. Possibly. We did say that last night. It turned out to be an AP Ezreal mid. So I'll just put that caveat in there. It's a possible Ezreal for raydere, but we do know that the raydere really loves the Ezreal plays.
Yeah, exactly. I think even might have said that Ezreal is his favourite AD to play at the moment, and for any of you that don't really play AD, when you play Ezreal, it's just so good because you feel so safe. Of course, Ezreal, with that arcane shift, with that long-range poke, which he can really use to harass in lane without getting himself in danger of taking any harass back. He's such a fun AD to play as well, and raydere, of course, with the Ez mechanics. Okay,
so what the heck is going on? NV picking up Misfortune and Caitlyn.
Okay, that's a little bit interesting from NV. I'd probably say that MF is going to be going down in the bottom lane, and it might be a mid Kate, but typically when you pick an AD mid, you counter pick with the AD mid. You don't first pick the AD mid, because now I am, pretty much know that it is going to be an AD mid. They can, pick their mid laner accordingly and plan out for it. But,
all right, it's a placeholder, Go. Relax.
It's a place.
We can relax.
Oh,
okay.
That was worrying me.
It was placeholder for Nocturne.
For Nocturne. Okay.
No, it's going to be Nocturne jungle. So once again, we're back into the picks and bans, guys. Same as last game. Same rules are going to apply. At least Zed, Vayne, Zach, Memory really bad. Cassidy, not sure the last one though.
Elite is something like that.
It was Shen.
It was Shen.
Yep. All right, so there it is. Now we're going to go quickly through these bans. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what a placeholder is basically when they come in through the picks and bans, they want to choose their jungler at that time, but the player in that slot doesn't have the champion. So what they can use is this rule called placeholder, and they put it into play this time. And usually if it's like a tournament situation, you've got to have that okayed by the officials. I dare say it was okayed. I know it's a general rule of Cybergamer. Placeholder can happen. Nocturne being locked in for their jungle, as well as Caitlyn for their bottom lane. Now, Thresh and Caitlyn is going to be a pretty hard lane to come up against.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, the Caitlyn pick with the Thresh, it's something which is maybe a little bit more defensive than other Thresh lanes with slightly high kill potential ADs. But the great thing about Caitlyn is that when you have something like a 3-on-3 situation, Caitlyn actually that's where I feel she shines in the early game, because that Piltover Peacemaker does so much AoE damage to say 3 people that are just coming charging at you trying to gank you, and of course those traps really helping with the positioning and kiting as well. So, pretty decent. I still think it's a very safe lane for NV this game. But, Caitlyn, I think it'll be easier for Snow to build, everyone knows how to build a Caitlyn. Just right click. So the Nocturne jungle there as well for NV. Haven't seen Nocturne jungle in a while, but what he does offer, of course, is pretty strong, long-range ganks, and it's going to force IM's bot lane, in particular, to really keep their wards up.
I believe in the NALCS recently there was quite a bit of Nocturne play. I think it was Meteos, maybe? I can't remember actually. No, I'm getting mixed up here. But one of the Cloud9 jungler, I can't remember his name.
Yes, Meteos, yep.
It is Meteos. I'm not as bad as I think I am. He was playing Nocturne. And yeah, he didn't die at all apparently in quite a few matches. So maybe MV feeling they can bring out the Nocturne, get a bit of carry action going. Over there for Immunity though, they've locked in their mid laner support. Again, Rosie going to be playing that Zyro down in bottom lane. He's going to be accompanied by raydere on that Ezreal. So that's a very comfortable duo for these guys. They play it often. They feel strong with it. And so Ari for the mid lane. Over on NV, I'm very excited right now because they've locked in Diana mid and Renekton up in that top lane.
Yeah, that is very interesting from NV there. I mean, Diana mid, might struggle a little bit early on against Ari, of course. Being melee self Diana, of course, may miss out on a few CS, but it's not going to be anything too major, we'd assume. And once Diana does hit 6, then that's when the lane really, we'd assume is going to start to flip around. Depending, of course, on whether Swift has accrued enough of an advantage by that point or not. So interesting to see that. I personally haven't seen Diana in a while, but still, I think it's safe to say a top-tier competitive pick. But what's really interesting as well is that in all of these games, Rosie is, not even these games, but Iron's recent games, even in Gamescom, Rosie's been so confident at that, at that Zyra support, has pretty much almost always been picking it, and it's always worked out really well for Immunity. So another thing which, maybe Envy, don't know if they should have let through, but of course we'll see how it pans out. And it looks like as well, IM are going to be going with that Jace, which we'd expect to be up in the top lane. Now, Jace, power pick a few months ago. It's still pretty strong, of course, but with a little bit more manageable poke.
Yeah, so how are you feeling for these team comps? Like, I really do like Immunity team comp once again, but I do love the bottom lane here, Gogo. I love Caitlyn, I love the Thresh, and I don't know what to do. It's just Diana is one of my favorite players as well, and one of my favorite champions, sorry. And it's going to be an interesting matchup between her and Ari in this middle lane. I mean, MV looking to try and come back from this one, so it's just going to be an amazing game too, Gogo.
Yep, it definitely is. And good to see that we actually have Swiffer in this chat here, in the Twitch chat here. So shout out to him.
Yeah, for sure. Watching the stream, yeah. 3-minute delay, still cheating.
That's right, but of course we are into the 3-minute delay, guys, right now. And going back to the team comps and how I think both of them are going to be playing out. Taking a look at the comp from NV, I really like it because it has a lot of dive. Captain Wobbles on that Nocturne, Rain playing that Diana, and even Castiel on that Renekton. And if they also really wanted to, pause on the Thresh, can dive into IM, really dive Raydere, dive the key member. Maybe even someone like Swiper if Swiper decides to go for the typical blast cannon build on that Jace. And they're really going to be getting in IM's face in these team fights. And I feel so that's probably why they picked the Caitlyn here, because Caitlyn needs less support than the other ADs in terms of peeling, support in team fights, stuff like that, partially due to a natural very long range, also that 90 caliber net, very strong getaway tool, and of course the traps.
Oh, it's just looking forward to getting this one out of the way. A minute 30 seemed like forever. While we're here, guys, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors: M-Wave, AMD, Ben Q, Western Digital, Sound Blaster, and G-Skill. I almost made up a new sponsor there, M-Wave. So yeah, if you are just joining us, this is game 2 of Team Immunity versus NV. Team Immunity taking away the first game in pretty much a landslide. Had a really good team composition, in my opinion, Gogo. And they just played it so strong, and yeah, it just worked out so well for them. Unfortunately, the mobility champions picked from NV weren't used to the best of their ability, and kind of just fell in line one by one, dying to Team Immunity's really strong plays, and they just had a really good laning phase. Raydere got really fed, Swiper got really fed, and there was just nothing NV could do. NV trying their best to turn this one around, got some really strong picks. They have Thresh and Caitlyn. Nocturne should be interesting to see. Renekton as well. Also a pretty safe top laner. We'll have to see how Castiel goes on that one.
Yeah, we will. And Castiel last game, didn't have the easiest of times on Vlad. I think by the end of it, he was something like 0-5 or 0-6, something like that. But I like the switch to Renekton here from Castiel, and the great thing about MV's team comp this game is that you really get an idea of what they want to do. They want to just get in there, dive as far as they can, and pick off the prime targets, which in this game will probably be Swiper and Raydere. The only thing they may have to watch out for is Swiffer playing that Ari. He's probably going to have a decently easy laning phase against the Diana of perfection, but come team fights, if Swiffer's kind of clever and maybe tries to flank NV, then it's probably only going to be Caitlyn, pause at the back there. Snow at the back there on that Caitlyn, and could be a little bit exposed, should we say?
Could possibly be. Now we do head into the skin battle. Got a few cool skins coming out of Debonair Chase. So smooth, so suave. I don't know, everybody's got skins. Absolutely everybody. That's awesome to see. One person does not have a skin. Deep Terror Thresh, my favourite skin on Thresh. Obviously the only skin apart from the vanilla one. So, I mean, I prefer it over the vanilla skin, as well as the Dark Valkyrie Diana coming out there. Eternum Nocturne is an awesome skin too. So, yeah. Who do you think is going to come out on top? Well, do you think we see any level 1 players, or what, Gogo?
Level 1 players, taking a look at both of the teams, NV has a pretty strong defensive level 1, I want to say, just purely because of Caitlyn traps. If Snow does decide to level them up and obviously put them in a defensive sort of area, but in saying that, that's not guaranteed. The rest of NV, Nothing special on level 1. They've got a little bit of AoE. If we look over on the IM side, however, wow, they've got the charm to catch someone out. Ezreal, fantastic at level 1 with Mystic Shot. Rosie on that. Zara, of course, could level up those that snare level 1, and that can mean death for an entire team if used correctly. So IM definitely have the stronger level 1 in this game.
Very true indeed. And whether they use that to their advantage, we'll have to see. On the back of that first win, I reckon we might see a bit more of an aggressive play from Immunity, feeling strong, as you do see 4 members heading towards this top river, probably going to go sit in that top brush, move on down towards the blue, use the concealment of the river to try and catch someone out at the blue buff. The blue buff, I guess you could call it. Envy's blue buff, I'll say. How about that? That makes more sense. So yeah, so they do come over here, sit in this top brush, and then they'll slowly work their way down. And about 20 seconds-ish, maybe a bit longer, minute 10, they might move down. Maybe even minute 20, move down. Zyra, though, out just putting the feelers around, throwing down the wards, and Diana spotting out the ward in that jungle. Just trying to stop them from maybe putting wards in their wraiths. No real aggressive plays, though, from Envy, and we do see them now. Minute 10, moving down towards this blue buff. They're not going to find any Envy players, Go.
Yeah, that's right. Envy nowhere near their blue at the moment, and of course that wood there, that Explorer ward in that middle lane brush from Envy, not spotting out any of Team Immunity. So he could have seen something a little bit crazy there, but because Wobbles, I think, has obviously decided to start red, that's not going to happen. So minions are going to spawn. I think we're going to see a pretty standard start for both of these guys. I wouldn't expect to see any lane swaps. I think everyone should be pretty comfortable in their normal lanes.
I do believe so. Pretty standard lanes. This last game there was no lane swaps either, so it's good to see some standard play coming out. I mean, the changes with the 3.1 patch to the towers, having more defensive stats early on in the game really kind of throws out that 2v1 lane push strategy that you see so much in the Korean scene. Spooks now cleaning up his red buff. Nocturne being played by Captain Wobbles, taken away his as well. Both of them in relatively same clear times as you see them both head towards his middle lane, and they'll cross over about the same time. So no real advantage there. Both teams helped out between the two.
Yeah, nothing too crazy at this point in the game. And Zildjian chat there asking who's new for IM and NV. Well, of course, IM, we had Raydere on earlier talking about the roster swaps. They have picked up Swiffer in the mid lane and Spooks in the jungle for their new roster. And NV, of course, I think they've changed out their support as we see the hook down the bottom.
The hook does land onto Rosie. Rosie takes tons of damage, popping up a health pot there. Try and regen that, but look out, there's not very much health there. I think that's maybe 430 health on Rosie, so one hook is pretty much almost death for him. Snow on Caitlyn being able to dish out considerable amount of damage herself with that headshot prop.
Yeah, that's right. So looks like for now we're not seeing any particular advantages at this stage in the game. It's all pretty even Stevens, if you will. Good to see Raydere and Rosie really trying to use that long-range poke that Lane does have, but of course being very careful at the same time so that pause doesn't sentence them to death.
No, I see what you did there.
that was a bad one. I'll give you.
that was pretty bad.
Oh.
Alright, so up in the top lane, there's incoming Java now. Castiel is really pushed up, and now they're going to go down. Is this going to be a first blood on Castiel again? Ooh. Castiel flash out the EQ combo, the slow onto, and the slice and dice as well. Red buff taken away. Oh, the Swiper narrowly missing that, and there's first blood. The Q from J4.
Yeah, great gank there by Spooks, really making it work, and also blowing the flash from Castiel. So what that means as well is that Spooks, he's going to be able to gank this lane for the next, next 300 seconds while Castiel's flashes down as well. So it'll force, of course, Castiel to play a little bit safer and really help IM's top lane there. Of course, once again, we actually saw the kill going over to Spooks this time. Not exactly what I am looking for, but last game it certainly helped them out.
Oh, wow, bottom lane, just Paul is really showing some aggression onto Rosie. Throwing a Death Center Thunder Tower, doesn't want to follow up. Obviously, pretty much suicide following up on that one down in bottom lane. But yeah, the difference between these two lanes right now, as opposed to last game, so pretty much top lane is the same. Unfortunately, Castiel given away first blood once again over to J4. So same thing happened last game when he was playing on Vladimir, but bottom lane it was a little bit different. It was a Twitch as well as a Zyra, and they really had control over the Ezreal Sona lane. This time it's a little bit different. Castiel, though, up in the top lane, getting a slice and dice onto Swiper, trying to get a little bit of trade damage in there. Swiper knocking him away.
Yeah, that's right. Swiper, of course, having a pretty easy time up in this top lane, really, putting the pressure on to Castiel up there. As we see the gank down in bot.
Yeah, Spooks lands the EQ combo onto Snow. Snow taking a ton of damage. There's a nice death sentence. So in comes Nocturne. This could be turned around. Captain Wobbles gets the fear off onto Raydere. Raydere throws out the barrier as well as Snow. Snow gets taken down by Rosie. And in the back, though, Nocturne picks up the Ezreal. So this is a carry for a carry right now. And both Paws and Wobbles want to maybe take out Rosie or Spooks on the J4. But no, it looks like it's just going to be an even trade between the teams.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, up in the top lane.
Oh, top lane, Castiel. Flash from Swiper. One more auto attack will do it and take him down. That's another death for Castiel.
Yeah, and this top lane is going to snowball fast if Envie are not careful already. Castiel is 0-2 up there, not having a great time at all. In the meantime, of course, that's led to an early tier pickup from Swiper up there. So he's going to be stacking that one up, going back again to spend 800 gold. So, just harking back to that bottom lane engagement there that we just saw Raydere die, very uncharacteristic of Raydere to give up a death like that too early. It was just a slight mistake. He got a little bit too far forward in that engagement, and Envie just capitalized on that, focused onto Raydere, dived onto him, and Captain Wobbles picked up the kill.
Yes, like you said, it's just very uncharacteristic. He doesn't usually give that stuff away. His positioning is usually very good. And yeah, this could be really detrimental for Ezreal. I know the rest of the team, though, are doing quite well. 3-1, a little bit of a gold lead at 7 minutes into the game. And looks like Paws just chilling out in that brush down the bottom lane. Wants to try and get another hook, get another kill maybe down here on Raydere or Rosie, but it's going to be quite difficult.
He's pretty keen for that, although speaking of kills, Spooks was maybe thinking about helping Swiffer get one in the mid lane. Looks like he's actually rotating, focusing a lot on this bottom lane at the moment. And with the way that Envie are pushed out at the moment, I think they could turn this one into a kill.
Could possibly. J4 lands the EQ combo. Not quite. There's a nice death sentence, though, from Paws. Flays him towards that turret. Isn't quite enough. They do not have the damage, but here comes Captain Wobbles again in the right place at the right time. Now waiting for Paws to possibly land a death sentence. I'm not sure if that plant actually saw Nocturne come around, but that was some good plays from Paws. Did flash that EQ, would have been certain death.
Yeah, and in the meantime, of course, both mid laners actually, I think they were looking to rotate down towards the bottom lane to help each other's teams out, but they met each other in the middle.
Top lane, Castiel in big trouble again. Pops the ultimate onto Swiper. Ignite from Castiel onto Jace. Jace is now very low. Castiel is going to have to try his best to regen while he can. Take a bit of CS.
Well, down in the bottom lane.
Bottom lane there is ultimate from Nocturne. Does land a fear onto Raydere again. Doesn't quite want to follow it up. And Caitlyn picks up a kill onto Zyra, but Zyra taken down Thresh in the meantime. So a support for a support, but the kill going over to Snow.
Yeah. Kill on Snow, that is pretty good for Envie, of course, and I am going to take this opportunity to push out this lane in the meantime. Swift was actually spotted by that ward there, but he's not actually going to be rotating towards the bottom lane, maybe just getting that ward down and stealing a few wraiths there. And missing his charm.
Does miss the charm, but no dragon, not really looking at the dragon at the moment. So Swiffer coming around the back of Diana. And don't think that J4 has been spotted by the wards, so they do know the wards their Rain safely moving towards that top river, just in and around that brush, trying to stay away from a gank that would have been inevitable there.
Yeah, that's right. And, while we've got a bit of a lull in the action, let's take a look, how things are going in the big picture. I suppose Captain Wobbles on that Nocturne is actually doing really, really, really well for Envie at the moment. 42 CS, 10 more than Spook. So, doing very decently in the jungle. He's also picked up that kill. And that's pretty big because Nocturne is the sort of jungler that really likes farm. Whether he decides to build, I'd say he's probably going to be building defensively this game. is really going to help him out.
Bottom lane, though, a Lantern getting Captain Wobbles into the fray there, but it's not going to be enough. The Death Center's narrowly missing Rosie there.
Yep, that was a close miss, but they're going to back out of that one, and, nothing really expanded by Envy. It's pretty much Captain Wobbles came down, took the Lantern, tried for the gank. Now he's backing out to the jungle again. Let's take a quick look up this top lane and see how that's going. Actually, interesting to see Castiel is very much keeping up in CS, even though he's down 2 deaths. So that's pretty good from him. And Swiper's still keeping the pressure on, and Swiper's actually got that tier. So he's going for, what's probably going to be the sort of squishy glass cannon Jace build this game with, tier into Miramar.
Yeah, top lane trading again. Castiel trying to engage with the minions behind him, giving that bit of extra damage. In the mid lane though, Nocturne popping around, maybe looking for a gank onto Swiffer. But yeah, so like you were saying, pretty even all round. Wow, charm flash there from Diana. Maybe he thought, if that lands, I am completely dead, so decides a flash.
Yeah, and I'd say that was a pretty good flash there. Rain on half health. I'd say that Swiffer could burst that down.
Yeah,
up in the top lane though.
Yeah, top lane now. Castiel falling very low once again. Hitting B at the back of that turret. And Swiper will quite easily take this one down. The first turret for Team Immunity up in this top lane. And as that's happening, Immunity going to take away the dragon. So a turret and a dragon for free.
Yep, not contested at all. And that's going to put Immunity in the lead in terms of gold. About 3k gold in the blue here at the moment. And, it's a pretty decent margin at this 11-minute stage of the game for IM. Especially when their team comp, is going to have to deal with the fights when Envy wants to go all in on them. Or in the mid lane.
Yeah, a charm onto Rain. Swiffer turning it around though. J4 in chase as well. Waiting for land and flash EQ combo onto Rain. Rain falls down so quickly.
Yes, Spook's doing work, although in the meantime in the bot lane.
All the action bottom lane. Thresh picks up a kill on Zara. Zara, though, Thresh, though, being killed by Raydere. And look at Snow solo and Raydere completely full health.
Yeah, wow. So, a little bit unfortunate for IM Spotland that they did manage to pick up all the killers. The snipe just misses from Raydere there. Good try, though. And I'm not sure, but Snow looks like he's staying around for this wave.
I think he might try and clear under turret, which could be quite detrimental. There's a bit of damage onto Raydere, but Captain Wobbles is there. It would be certain death for him if he did decide to go in.
That was a pretty nice 90 caliber net CS. I've got to say, just little mechanics like that. That's when you can tell these guys, they are the top tier Oceanic players in the in the Oceanic region. So another thing I'd like to point out as well, Raydere this game on this Ezreal, wow, as he gets Snow so low.
Oh my lord! What are you sticking around for, Snow?
Oh, that is that is hilarious. That was just a bit of a fail. To put it completely bluntly, Snow should have stuck around there. Of course, great Q by Raydere, but that's just comical at this point. It's as I was pointing out from Raydere, he's actually going for the nice early Miramana, turning it into a Iceborne Gauntlet at the moment, and he's going to be building a Miramana next. But went back to base, said, look, I have enough money to turn the Sheen into the Iceborne Gauntlet. And, the gank in the bot lane.
There it is, the ultimate from Nocturne. Onto Rosie now. Rosie locking up both paws and wobbles. In comes Spooks on J4. They do see him coming through. Ezreal ulti flying over the back. Will it land? Does land onto paws, so he will get the assist for that. The Cataclysm over the top. A flash out of that. There's the Death Sentence as well. There's the ultimate from Rosie. Rosie throws down the Ignite. J4 picks up the kill onto Thresh. Now Rosie in a bit of trouble. Captain Wobble's taken him solo, and Snow picking up the kill, and now Spooks comes in with the EQ combo again. There's a barrier from Snow, narrowly surviving that one. Raydere pretty much taking the tower, looking to pick up some more kills on both Snow and Wobbles, who are super low, and this time Snow decides to back out.
Yeah, it was very close. I feel as though if Raydere had landed that Q onto Snow, of course, the Iceborne Gauntlet would have procced, and that would have been a dead Caitlyn. Maybe even a dead Wobbles if he'd stuck around as well. So, A little fortunate for Envy that they didn't end up giving another kill to raydere. But look at this in the top lane. While all this is happening, we've got Swiper with a very early mana immune, which I do quite like that build from. He's just taking the second tier outer tower in top.
With just Renekton standing there, pretty much trying his best not to die. Swiper really dominating this top lane here. 1 and 0 kills. Castiel like hasn't died in a while, but you know, poor old guy. It's 107 CS. He's 20 CS behind. This bottom lane falling so low as well. And raydere just on point with those Qs.
Yeah, definitely. And Castiel's in trouble up top. Oop, no,
he is so close. Mid lane now. Immunity just putting pressure on all around the map here, Go. And they want to continue this as Wobbles trying their best to clear this mid lane. And J4 now has free roam that jungle now that mid turret's gone.
Yeah, that's right. We've got Spooks with that Oracle's pickup actually using that just to clear a few wards out of Envy's jungle. And if we take a look at the vision that Envy have at the moment, they don't have any vision. That's pretty much it. Yeah, exactly. They've got no wards down at the moment, or just one that recently got cleared. And now IM might be looking for the dive on Snow.
Oh, there's a lantern saving a dark passage, keeping the Snow alive. But Ezreal picks up the bottom tower. It is now 4-0 turrets in favour of Team Immunity. There's a huge gold lead, 6.8k, almost 7k at 16 minutes in, Go. That's big.
That is immense for Immunity at this stage of the game. And you know, if we take a look at who on Envy might be able to sort of carry the team or stop them.
Mid lane though, Rain does narrowly dodge the charm ignite onto Swiffer. Swiffer may just fall, doesn't have a health pot. The last tick, not enough. Take down Swiffer, and Jace comes in, cleans up with Diana.
Wow, that was a nice